Okay, I'll get the chat in here. I know a couple of you guys just got in, so I'll give you like 30 seconds to look at the drill. Probably a better test of your eyesight than anything else. All right, I'm going to count to 3. If everyone could chat in their answer, it's an easier way for me to take attendance. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What do we got? All right, we got a lot of C's. Okay. All right, so the profit maximizer in all the labor markets is MFC equals MRP, which is at point F. If I take that down, I've got LO. All right, at point F, I'm not going to use wage 3 because I'm monopsony. I'm going to go on down to the supply curve in wage 1. So it's wage 1 and LO, which is C. Couple of things while I have this monopsony graph up is to remember wage 3 is the highest wage you could get without losing any workers. So you could raise the wage from wage 1 to wage 3 without losing any workers. You should still be where MF equals MRP. Look at wage 2. Think of that as minimum wage. If minimum wage is wage 2, you cannot pay anyone under it. You also cannot pay anyone, or you will not pay anyone over it. You can, but you really want to pay people at W1. So why would you pay anyone over W2? So in a way, if that's minimum wage, it becomes your MFC or MRC curve. You take that over to where G is, and notice labor is L1. So the point I want to make about a monopsony is it is the only time in the labor market that minimum wage increases the amount of workers, okay? Usually minimum wage decreases the amount of workers. And the reason for that is at W1, the wage is so low that you're not getting a good enough supply of workers for that business. Okay, any questions anyone has on the drill? You can either chat it or you could just turn on your mic. No one?
Did you ever make like a, I honestly didn't check. Did you make a practice quiz for monopsony?
A practice quiz?
Or just like a review?
No, I didn't. But on the practice test that I gave you, there should be questions on monopsony. And Cameron, if you want, or send me an email and maybe I could get a couple of practice questions on monopsony and put them together, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if I was prepping for this final, the first thing is, again, if there's a 95% chance that there's a side-by-side perfect competition, a monopoly, or a natural monopoly graph, I would have to have those mastered. And yesterday, I gave you almost all the possible questions they could ask on perfect competition and some on monopoly. I'll finish them up today on monopoly. So like yesterday's, and I videotaped it. I sent out the YouTube thing yesterday. I'll send it out again today. And today's, I know. Review all the graphs. I put all the graphs on the midterm review PowerPoint, and I do the ultimate review guide. When you're taking the test, do not waste too much time on any question. Don't run yourself out of time where you might have got certain questions right, but you're getting them wrong because you're rushing. Okay, take your, if it's going to take 2 or 3 minutes, come back to it. there's a good chance you might not get those hard ones, the hard ones for you. Everyone's got different hard ones, right? So you might as well skip it and come back. Remember, like a 5 is 78% or about that. So you're not supposed to get everything right. So don't get discouraged. Just get every point you can. Just go ahead and, don't, oh, this is so hard, because it is hard, but it's curved for that reason, okay? All right, for the FRQs, there's 3 of them. You have to do all 3. The first one is worth the most points. So you got 50 minutes. I would say the first one, if you have to, you could spend 25 minutes on it. And then the next 2, 12 and a half and 12 and a half, okay? Remember to label everything so you get those easy points. Like in perfect competition, side by side, if you do the industry, supply, demand, P1, Q1, P and Q, that's a point. But if you don't label it, you don't get the point. And again, do not get discouraged, okay? Just plow through it and do the best you can. And the last thing is, I take the practice test. I'll be here Monday from 7:45 to 9. If you have any questions, like you don't understand it, come on in or email me, but just get it cleared up, okay? Any questions on the test? Okay, let's move forward then. All right, here are some things people said they wanted me to talk about. So, and again, I put out a sheet that says Friday on the midterm. If you want to pull out that sheet and follow along or use it. Free rider is people who use, people who say, watch fireworks, but don't contribute and pay for it. So they're getting the benefit without paying for it. And free riders, because it's hard to control, often lead to public goods, right? Now, shifters of demand in the resource market. So remember, demand in the resource market equals marginal resource product, right? Marginal resource product is marginal product times price. So here are the shifters of demand. Change in the price of the product. That's one, change in the price of the product. The second is change in the productivity, which often is technology, right? So change in the price, change in productivity. And the third is substitutions or complements. So those are the 3 shifters of demand in the labor market. In the resource market, the shifters of supply are 1, number of workers. 2, I would say alternative, let me call it tastes and preferences. Like now women are working. When I was a kid, women didn't go to work. Leisure time, maybe more vacations. So that would be the second. The third would be government regulations. Like if you had to have a doctorate degree to become a teacher, that would decrease the supply of teachers, okay? And then the 4 alternative jobs. Are there jobs where my skills could get paid more? So that might change the supply of, say, teachers, all right? So the supply, it was numbers, all right, number of workers. It was alternative jobs, government regulations, and the 4th one now is slipping my mind. Oh, and then leisure time or change in taste and preference. All right, long versus short run. Short run, there's a fixed resource, at least one fixed resource. All right, you can think of the box when we did the push-up activity. That was the fixed resource space. Long run, no fixed resource. Yeah. Any questions on that? You can just yell at me or chat. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you this question. I'll give you a minute. The following chart shows the total utility that one receives from consuming various amounts of, what does he do? Chocolate bars? Chocolate bars each day. Which of the following statements about one's marginal utility is correct? I'll give you a minute. Okay. All right. I'm going to count to 3, and you guys could blast away. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of A's. Okay. All right. So the marginal utility from the first candy bar. So the marginal utility for the first candy bar is 40 minus 0 is 40. Is greater than the marginal utility from the second. The marginal utility from the second is 70 minus 40, which is 30. So that is true. The marginal utility for the first is greater. All right. Just remember, with all the margins, it's like 2 minus 1. Like, so 70 minus 40 is 30. All right. So the marginal utility starts to decrease after the first product and at the second candy bar. Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay. All right. I'm going to give you a minute because one of the 3 graphs that I said you needed to be responsible for is draw a natural monopoly. I'll give you like a minute to draw a natural monopoly. If you're using my sheet, there is a space for it. If not, just draw it. And by the way, draw the stinking natural monopoly. Don't think you know how to draw it. Draw it and prove to yourself that you know. Lorenzo, are you here? I know you're here. Where are you, Lorenzo?
I'm here, Mr. Bressler.
Okay. Lorenzo, could you tell me a feature of a natural monopoly that might be a little different than a regular monopoly?
Yeah.
Did you have trouble remembering how to graph this?
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to get this done by Tuesday, right? You're going to master it?
I'm going to master it. I'm going to master every curve.
Okay. Mr. Owens, could you tell me a feature that's different in a natural monopoly? This is Mr. Owens' class, right? Is it not?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My fault.
Is there something about a natural monopoly that's different that you could tell us?
Yeah, it's a downward sloping ATC.
Nice. Good job, Mr. Owens. Okay. It's a downward sloping ATC. All right. Now, if the ATC is downward sloping, the MC must be below it. Okay. So it's a downward sloping ATC, as Mr. Owen said, and MC has to be below. If you want to draw MC perfectly elastic below it, that's fine, long as it stays below. All right, profit maximizer, MC equals MR. There it is. Remember, the demand curve is dark. Demand equals average revenue equals price. I noticed on a couple of the AP practice questions, like they would say quantity is 10 and average revenue is 7. What is total revenue? Well, if average revenue is 7, price is 7, so it'd be 7 times 10. And just to hit a couple of the key points, it says AC here, ATC crosses demand at fair return. That is zero economic profit. And where MC crosses demand, that is socially optimal or allocatively efficient. And in this natural monopoly, that will always be losing money. So government would have to subsidize. Okay? Any questions about a natural monopoly before we move on?
So what do we need to know? We need to know profit maximizer, allocatively efficient.
AC crosses demand, fair return. MC crosses socially optimal.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'd also know that fair return is zero economic profit and socially optimal, you're losing money. Okay? Anyone else? Okay. All right, I kind of did this one. All right, price is 10, what is average revenue? Okay, so I want to give you a minute to think about if the price is 10, what is the average revenue? And an excise tax, what impact would that have on price, quantity, and deadweight loss? Okay, I'll give you a minute to think about it, and then I'll come back. Peter, if there is an excess, first of all, Peter, if the price is 10, what is average revenue?
I don't know how to do that.
Okay. All right, Peter, demand is dark. So demand equals average revenue equals price. So if the price is 10, the average revenue is 10.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense to you now?
Yes.
Okay. And dark in a monopoly and Mr. Dark in perfect competition, I'm going to tell you guys there's 2 or 3 questions probably. Like, you know, they're not going to ask you what is Mr. Dark or what is stuff, but they're going to do that. They're going to give you the price and ask you the average revenue and stuff like that. All right. Cameron, if there's an excise tax, how would I show that on this graph?
MC would shift to the left.
Okay, so I'm going to try to shift MC to the left like you told me. Okay, and that's what you meant, right?
Yes.
All right, so I have a new MC equals MR. So my price What happened to price here?
Price went up.
And quantity
Yes, it went down.
went down. Okay, now, good job, Cameron, thank you. Could someone raise their virtual hand and tell me what happens to dead weight loss? No one? Or am I just not seeing? Oh, no, there's 3 people. Let's see. Okay. Tony, go.
It's because when you put the tax on, it takes away the dead weight loss because you're moving the new equilibrium point to where, oh wait, never mind. Dead weight loss is just gonna shift over a little bit to where MC meets demand all the way up to price, down to where MC crosses ATC.
So is dead weight loss going to increase, decrease, or stay the same?
It's going to stay the same.
At first, Tony, you were thinking of a negative externality, weren't you?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Tony, where is the optimal? Where is socially optimal on this monopoly graph?
Socially optimal is where MC crosses demand. So it's going to be at the.
So that's right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we get closer to that or further away?
Further away.
If you go further away, dead weight loss increases because you're moving away from the optimum. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Bressler. Mr. Bressler.
Yes.
Would the ATC go up too?
Yes. ATC would go up. Yes, it would. Mr. Owens, you chatted. It won't stay the same. Dead weight loss would increase because you're moving away from the optimal. Did that answer your question? Okay. All right. And then Nick also made the point, and that's true, ATC would then have to shift up. All right. So for an excise tax or a per unit subsidy, you shift MC and ATC. For a lump sum tax or a change in fixed costs, you just shift the ATC. Any questions on this before we go forward? Okay. All right. Someone wanted the monopolistic competition in the long run. They wanted me to draw this graph. It is a monopoly graph. The only thing that in the long run, you cannot make profits. So the only 2 markets that can make profits are oligopolies and monopolies. Monopolistic competition and perfect competition, 0 economic profit in the long run. Now, does anyone remember what it's called when MC crosses ATC and I bring the line down here? Now, where MC crosses ATC is productively efficient. But in monopolistic competition, when MC crosses ATC and you bring it down, it has a special thing. Cameron, what is it called?
Is it if it were to act or if it were to price discriminate?
No. If price discrimination would be, you would fold MR, and so it'd be where MC crosses demand. But this is where it crosses ATC and you're bringing it down. Okay? Anyone else? That would be excess capacity. Okay? So excess capacity, is what you could be producing if you were producing at the least cost compared to what you are producing. All right. Any questions about monopolistic competition? All right. Let's do a little game theory. What do they want? Which of the... All right. Just figure out the dominant strategy for each one of these. Give you like a minute or two to figure out the dominant strategy for each one. Okay. All right. I'm going to see what B mine is supposed to do. So if G mine cheats, B mine could cheat and make 10 or not cheat and make 5. They could cheat and make 10. If G mine does not cheat, B mine could cheat and make 25 or not cheat and make 20. So no matter what G mine does, B mine is going to cheat. That is the dominant strategy. So cheat the B mine. And it's a dominant strategy because no matter what your opponent does, you're going to do the same thing. All right. Now for G mine, we're going to go across. We're looking going across. The boxed ones were B mines, the unboxed are G mines. So if B mine cheats, G mine could cheat and make 5 and not cheat and make 20. They're not going to cheat. If B mine doesn't cheat, G mine could cheat and make 15 or not cheat. All right. So G mine's dominant strategy was not to cheat. No matter what B mine did, G mine was not going to cheat. Okay. So those are the two dominant strategies. Where you get a check and an X, you get what we call Nash's equilibrium. And all that means is there is no incentive to cheat. Meaning, if G mine cheated instead of not cheated, G mine would make less money. And if B mine cheated instead of not cheated, B mine would make less money. It's not, even though this time it is, it's not always the square where you'll make the most money. Okay. Any questions on this game theory?
So how did you do that?
Which, just go through the whole process again? Is that what you want?
Yeah, you said, so for G mine, it was like if B mine cheats, yeah.
Right,
Can you just do the whole thing again, please? Sorry.
Yeah. All right. So I'm deciding what G mine should do. G mine is the unboxed numbers. So if B mine, so I'm going cross. So if B mine cheats, G mine has two options: to cheat and make 5 or not cheat and make 20. So they're not going to cheat and make 20. If B mine does not cheat, G mine could make 15 or 25. They're going to make 25. So no matter what, their G mine's not going to cheat. Now I'm going to go the other way, Dan. I'm going to see what B mine should do. And I have the arrow pointing down because for B mine, we look downward. So if G mine cheats, B mine could cheat and make 10 or not cheat and make 5. They could cheat and make 10. If G mine doesn't cheat, it's 25 to 20. They're going to pick 25. Did that help you?
Thank you. Yes, that makes a lot of sense now.
Okay, great. That's what we're here for. All right. I think we got, might have another. Game theory, there'll usually be one or two multiple choice, and sometimes could be in the free response, the short free response. All right. Give you another game theory one. I'll give you like a minute or two to look at it. Okay, when I say three, could we just type in our letter? And let's just do it as honestly as we can so I make sure that we know it. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. All right, seems good. Seems like people got C there. So increase the subscription. All right, so if I'm looking at the Daily Voice, just to go over it, the Daily Voice is going to be the box numbers. And I'm going to be looking downward. So if the time Herald does not change, do not change. The Daily Voice cannot change and make 500 or increase and make 600. They can increase. If the time Herald increases, it'd be 200 to 300. So there is the dominant strategy. Okay, any questions on that before we go forward? Seem like you guys got it. That'll be good. That'll be 2 easy questions then on the exam. You only got 58 more to occupy your time with. All right, quick question here. Give you a minute to look at it. Assume that people like onions on their hamburgers. If the supply on hamburgers decreases, the demand for onions will likely. Give you a minute to think about it. Okay. All right, Ryan. What are hamburgers and onions according to this little prompt?
They're complements.
They're complements. Okay. So if the supply of hamburgers decreases, what's going to happen to the price of hamburgers, Ryan?
They're going to go up.
They're going to go up, right? Let's see, do I have, right? Supply would shift left, price of hamburgers are going to go up. Okay, if the price of hamburgers goes up, Matt, what's that going to do to onions as a complement?
It's going to decrease demand.
Right, because people are going to buy less hamburgers, so therefore they need less onions. That being said, Matt, the answer is going to be
D.
D. Okay. Any questions on that one? All right. See, can we squeeze in another one? Oh, I want you to pick. There's 4 things: price exceeds ATC, economic profits are 0, marginal cost equals ATC, new firms are likely to enter. Just think about which ones are true looking at that graph. Okay. I'm going to count to 3 and just type in which ones are true. 1, 2, 3. What do we got? No one? None of them are true? I'm getting 1 and 4. I'm getting 1s and 4s. Okay. All right. Let's look. 1, price exceeds ATC. D equals MR. It's Mr. Dark. So that's the price. It's greater than the ATC. True. Economic profits are 0. No, price is greater than ATC. We're making profit. That's not true. Marginal cost equals ATC. No, the marginal cost is crossing the MR at the profit maximizer. That is above ATC. And because you're making profit, new firms will enter. What would it look like if marginal cost equals ATC? The ATC would be here, like 0 economic profits. Okay. All right, let's see, can we slip one more in? And then we'll call it a day. All right. If firm's current rate of output, the marginal cost is 65, the average variable cost is 35, the average fixed cost is 30, and the product price is 65, which of the following statements are true of the firm? I'll give you 1 minute. Okay. I'll count to 3 and let's see what we have. 1, 2, 3. I've got some E's, I've got some A's. All right, I've got A. Okay. A's and E's. All right, economic profits are 0 because MR equals MC. MR equals MC is the profit maximizer. You could be making profit with that, you could be losing money, or you could be breaking even. So that is not true. Economic profits are 0 at E because variable cost is 35, fixed cost is 30, that's 65. So the average total cost equals the price. So therefore, you're making zero economic profit. Okay. Anyone with any questions on anything today?
So the answer was A?
E. Sorry, E as an element.
True.
Okay. Any other questions? And there might be one in the chat here. No. All right, guys, then have a great day. Thank you for your time and attention. I appreciate it. And I'll be doing a review Sunday at, I think I said 7:30. 7:30. Rather Monday at 7:30.